Hello, calculus students and general seekers of truth. Welcome to the continuing series of videos on product and quotient rules. And in the last couple of videos, we talked about finding the derivative of a product. Now we'll look at finding the derivative of a quotient. And just like last time, I just want to point out that q prime of x is not equal to f prime over g prime. Okay. We really want it to be. That would certainly make things simple, make our lives a lot simpler, but it is not the case. Okay, so and I won't give you a counter example for this one. I'll let you think for yourself. It's some counter examples of why this will not work. So we're gonna have to do some algebraic methods in order to find the solution. And here we actually don't have to use the definition of the derivative because there's actually a slightly better method. Okay, so we're going to start out with this equation here, and then we're going to use this to figure out what's q prime. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually rearrange everything a little bit and say q prime times g prime. All right, now q looks so much like g, so let me just write it a little bit differently. Q of x times g of x is equal to f of x. Now, if that statement is true, then their derivatives are also equal. So the next step I'm going to do is take the derivative of both sides. Okay. And on the left, we're going to have to, well, on the right, maybe I should start there. That's much easier. That's just f prime of x. On the right, we have to apply the product rule, which says it is the first function, q of x, times the derivative of the second function, g prime of x, plus the second function, which is g, times the derivative of the first function, q. And then from here, we're going to solve for q prime. Okay. So we'll start by, let's see, saying that g of x, q prime of x is equal to f prime of x. We're just going to take this part and move it over, minus q times g prime. Okay. Now, remember what q was equal to in the beginning. Note that q was really just f over g. So I'm going to rewrite that. Okay. And over here we still have g of x, q prime of x. Then in order for us to merge these two terms together, we're going to have to get the common denominator. So this f prime here, I'm just going to turn it into f prime over g times g. Okay, so all I've really done here is multiply f prime by 1 minus f of x, g prime of x, also over g. And now I can combine these two fractions together. So this is f prime g minus f g prime, all of this over g. And this is still equal to g q prime of x. Okay, so we haven't really changed anything yet on the left side. But to get, remember we're trying to solve for q prime. So to get q prime by itself, we divide both sides by g, and we end up with q prime is equal to f prime times g minus f times g prime, all divided by g. And we already had g in here, and we're dividing it by g again, so we end up with g squared. Okay, and I'm putting the square brackets around there to indicate that we're squaring the entire function of g. So this is called the quotient rule. This is otherwise known as the quotient rule. And we'll be able to use this little setup here to find the derivative of any quotient. So we will say this is the derivative of the numerator times the denominator minus the derivative of the denominator times the numerator divided by the numerator squared. So remember, f is the numerator and g is the denominator. Okay.